Joining me now to talk about the travel ban is Wilfredo Ruiz. He is the Communications Director for CAIR, the Council on American-Islamic Relations. Thank you for being here. Appreciate having you.
Thank you for the invitation.
So let's talk about this. A lot of Muslims feel that this is actually a Muslim ban because President Donald Trump on the campaign trail frequently advocated for a Muslim ban and talked about a complete shutdown of Muslims coming into this country. But this is now the third iteration of the travel ban, and it includes countries that are not Muslim, like North Korea and Venezuela, predominantly Muslim, and it also excludes many countries that are Muslim countries. So how do we justify calling it a Muslim ban?
We justify calling it a Muslim ban because the president called it that way. When the president asked former Mayor Giuliani to help him in drafting this executive order, he explicitly asked Mr. Giuliani if he could turn the Muslim ban legal. So the rationale for implementing this immigration limitation that it is with powers of the president to do, it was not the correct one. You cannot use the religious preference of a certain country or Muslim majority countries as a basis for discrimination.
But this third version, the first version did talk about religion. It expressly said that religious minorities would get preference from those Muslim countries. But this third version took out that clause.
And what we see is this insistence in the administration on cleansing this order because they want to try to clean it up from the traces it previously had, where you can evidently see it was a Muslim ban. Of course, the administration wants to disguise it because if it was open about it, it would be immediately disapproved. So it is a disguise for a Muslim ban. The government forgets to mention when in all these orders that they kept the majority Muslim countries. Most of the countries mentioned still Muslim majority countries. Those countries that are not mentioned are North Korea. I don't know how many North Koreans really want to immigrate to America or apply to do so or are crossing our borders. And the Venezuelan regime government people that are affected. But what we need to keep in mind is what has really happened here. What has really happened here is, in the opinion of the 4 of the 9 judges or justices of the Supreme Court, is that we're going back 50 years to the Korematsu times. Those times where the government officially sanctioned discriminating a group of people within our nation. That in that time because of their ethnicities, this time because of the religion, to implement some kind of discriminatory immigration policies towards that group. And when we let this happen unsanctioned and unresponsive about it, it invites the government and it emboldens the government, like the government is now, to keep implementing this type of discriminatory policies, especially in immigration matters. And we see the president so emboldened that he was, in a few days ago, he even proposed to eliminate the right of immigrants to have a hearing before an immigration judge. And when we hear from the president proposals and being uncomfortable about hiring judges, when that is a duty of our nation, if we have the immigration system that we wish to have based on democracy and ethical values, if we want to keep that and keep our image as the flag bearer of democracy, then we need to welcome immigrants and we need to grant those women that come raped from Central America to have a hearing before a judge, those people that are politically prosecuted from whenever they come to have a hearing before a judge, those people running out of war and out of death to also have an opportunity and a hearing before a judge. And what we see is a president very uncomfortable for the need to hire judges outrageous.
I wanted to ask you about refugees because going back again to the first version of the travel ban, it mentioned refugees and barring all refugees. What about the argument that we have to secure the borders and that there are countries, for Syria, for example, which really doesn't have a government and can't really vet people properly and communicate with our government who has been vetted, who doesn't have a criminal history, who is safe to enter the country?
What is wrong is to have a blanket approach to all Syrians. What we should probably is implement a policy that if we cannot vet somebody, we will not in. That, as a matter of fact, that is the standing policy even before the Muslim ban 1, 2, 3. If our government intelligence and immigration agencies are not capable of vetting somebody, they will not let them in. And there's a false impression given by the president that we were letting people in without an extreme vetting. Those Syrians that live now in South Florida, for example, are people that have gone vetting processes sometimes over 2 years of continuous and constant interviews, investigations, when we have multiple of our investigative agencies and law enforcement agencies involved in their vetting. That's how they made it here. And the president gives a false impression that people are coming left and right from Syria and without an extreme vetting, and that there's no way of us vetting them. That's false. We have implemented it. We continue to implement it, and our policy have always been people that we don't vet efficiently or effectively, we just don't allow them in the country.
Well, thank you so much for joining us today. We appreciate